Good morning, this is your Stat Sensei, Mr. Spensei, and this is pre-quiz for design of experiment. So a completely random design with 720 volunteers was created to examine how different sleep durations affected cognitive performance in teenagers and young adults, with the goal of understanding the optimal, and by the way, so what we care about or what they're caring about is cognitive performance. They also told us that they had a sample size of 720, so that's N. All right. Included 8 hours of sleep typically as a control group. So this 8 hours is our baseline. This is the control group. So first question is, what is the response variable? What are we comparing at the end? Well, what we're comparing at the end is cognitive performance. So the response variable, comparing grades of teenagers and young adults. And why are we doing that? We're comparing, and you could have said, so it could have been grades, you could have said cognitive performance, because we don't know exactly how it is measured, but cognitive performance is what we're looking at. All right. List each explanatory variable. Well, when I went out of the random, it only divided once. So this means I only have one variable. And what is my one variable? In this case, it was hours of sleep. So, and then it says, so one variable, which is 1 hour hours of sleep, and then it asks for the number of levels. Well, I'll look at how many times it was divided. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So number of hours of sleep, and it has 6 levels. Those 6 levels being 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours. That's our baseline, our control group, and then 10 hours. And then it says list each treatment. Well, in this case, our treatments are equal to the number of levels. That's not always going to be the case. So our treatments are 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, and 10 hours. The only reason it exactly matches is because we have one variable. If we have more than one variable, we're going to have more treatments than we have than levels. Okay? All right. Pause for just a moment. All right, problem number 2. A study was designed to examine how different combinations of screen time in hours per day and exercise in minutes per day impact anxiety in teenagers and young adults. So, when we look at our diagram, we broke them into different groups. The low screen time, 1 to 2 hours, moderate, 3 to 5 hours, and high is 6+ hours of screen time. So they were blocked, which means we pushed them into the group. This is how much screen time they already used. They already used 1 to 2, they already used 3 to 5, they already used 6+ hours. Of that group that were in the low screen time group, we randomly assigned them to 0 minutes of exercise, 15 minutes of exercise, 30 minutes of exercise, or 60 minutes of exercise. And the way this was done, and just so you know, is they had 840 volunteers that fit nicely into the 3 groups. So they took the 840 and divided by 3, and they got 280 for each group. Then they had 1, 2, 3, 4, and they divided the 280 by 4 and got 70. So 70 went to the no exercise, 70 went to the 15, etc. And if we add all this up, it'll add up to a total of 840. So adding all these up to 840, this adds up to 840. In this case, we have a couple different variables. We have our blocking variable, and then we have our exercise variable. So we have 2 variables, all right? And we'll talk about that in a moment. Well, it says in 2A, it says, what's the purpose of the control group? Well, the control group is the one who doesn't get anything. Well, everyone got some screen time, so our control group would be the no exercise group. So the purpose of the placebo or the control group, and by the way, it says placebo here in the question, but it's probably just a control group, is provide a baseline for comparison so that the experimenters can determine whether or not the changes in anxiety are due to some combination of screen time and exercise or some other activity. And specifically, we're looking at exercise. All right. Specifically, we're looking at exercise because exercise is the one that had zero. We didn't have zero for screen time. Okay. So because we had zero for exercise, that makes it the control. All right. The next, could this be performed as a single blind experiment? And I'm going to say, yeah, it could be, because there's no reason that the experimenter or the data collector would have to know how much screen time or exercise you had. Yes, single blind, because the data collector does not need to be told which treatment person is receiving throughout the collection. The data collector would not have to know that I use the screen a little, some, or a lot, and they wouldn't have to know how much I exercised. Could this be done double blind? That's the next question. And the answer is probably not. Because if I'm the guy, I'm going to know how many hours I spent on the screen. And believe me, I'm going to know if I exercised 60 minutes or whether I got to sit on the couch and eat potato chips, which is what I'd like to do. So I'm going to know what my treatments are. So I couldn't be double blind. The data collector wouldn't know. That's single blind. But the person being experimented on in this case would know. So no, it cannot be double blind because the teenagers and young adults have to know how much they're expected to exercise during the study and how much screen time they have. All right. Explain how one could have performed the random allocation. Well, random allocation did not occur here at the blocking. Random allocation occurred within each block. So within each block, I would put the 280 names into the hat and mix. And the first 70 names would be to the no exercise group. The next 15 would be to the next 70 names go to the 15-minute groups. The next 70 would go to the 30, and the next 70 would go to 60. I would repeat for each block. So I'm going to mark out this part of it. Of the 200 names with low screen time, 70 of them will be placed. 280 names will placed in a hat. 70 of them will not exercise. The next 70 name draws will exercise only 15 minutes, etc. And then I will repeat for each block. All right. Next thing, and that's what I basically said, but I would eliminate that first sentence. Explain the comparison of the results in context. Well, what did we care about? Whether or not it impacted anxiety. So our response variable in this case is anxiety level. How many are assigned to each treatment? Well, 280 people were placed in these blocks, but our treatments right here is 1 to 2, no exercise, 1 to 2, 15, etc. So these are my treatments, the combination. And it turns out we took that, as I showed you before, we had 840, we divided by 3 because they were forced into blocks based on the amount of screen time. And then we had 1, 2, 3, 4, that 280 divided by 4. So 70 in each group. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And 70 times 12 will give us our original 840. So in this case, since it asked how many were assigned to each treatment, the answer was 70. The 840 divided by 3, then that 280 divided by 4 gave us 70. The next one, the response variable, that's the same thing as we're comparing. So we're comparing anxiety levels, and our response variable is also anxiety levels. Moving on. List each explanatory variable along with the number of levels associated with that variable. So in that case, and by the way, this is where we're going to want to start abbreviating. The explanatory variables, we have two variables. This is our first division right here. I'm going to do that in pink. So this is our first division. This is our first variable. And it's like, oh, that's one variable. And then our second division occurs right here. So in this case, we have two divisions, two times it divided by 3, and here divided by 4. And this right here is screen time. So one variable is screen time. And the next variable is exercise. So screen time had 1, 2, 3 levels. Exercise has 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't count it again because they repeat. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This has 4 levels. This has 3 levels. So screen time has 3 levels: low, moderate, and high. Exercise 0, 15, 30, and 60 minutes. Okay, so the next question. Lights have gone off. Thank you. Lights are back on. List each treatment. And generally speaking, we can abbreviate these. Now, we didn't here, but we have low screen time, 0. Low screen time, 15 minutes. And what that looks like is I went low, 0, low, 15, low, 30, low, 60. All right? Low, 0, low, 15, low, 30, low, 60. And if I'm abbreviating this, here's the way I would abbreviate it. I would go L0, L15, L30, L60. So I don't have to write as much. Then I have moderate. All right, we wrote it out here so that you'd understand. Moderate 0, moderate 15, moderate 30, moderate 60. So moderate 0, moderate 15, moderate 30, moderate 60. And then we have our high group. High 0, high 15, high 0, high 15, high 30, high 60. High 0, high 15, high 30, high 60. And if I count those up, I better have 12 treatments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And guess what? That's what I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. I'm going to break this into two videos. So problems 3 through 4 will be in the second video. Appreciate you watching. Sure hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.